Last time on BPO Night Live.
Season 2 is all about introducing new faces and fresher faces. Literally fresh. Like 16 years fresh. So,
Fresh
Mm,
perspectives.
like a
yes.
decade fresh. Ganon.
More than a decade fresh. I'd like you guys to meet Sagan Rauscher. Hi, Sagan.
I really hate to praise, but it's my color.
Oh.
Don't worry, we're gonna bleep it.
Okay.
Sagan is here, so at least he could give us a few points, perhaps a few pointers on how we could go about bridge that gap, right? So normally, what is it that your friends are looking for when they phone, let's say, a specific provider? What is it that what kind of service do they expect? How do they expect us to sound?
They normally, I guess, would expect someone that can speak clearly. Is clearly, I guess, can speak English without or they can speak English well, and then somebody who's friendly, like even if they're not like particularly blunt or honest, I guess.
Someone who
like-
can fake it, right? Parang ganun. I know someone in the office who can fake it even if it's, let's say, that person is giving the wrong information. So we have to eventually terminate that person. Not good.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that person's got really good CSAT, speaks really clear English, but the problem is that all the resolution being given is wrong. So anyway, I have sad no, but okay. What are the things that we need to work on? I guess.
So I think that I really appreciate honesty. So I guess going back to what I was saying, I think that honesty is key, and I guess I personally wouldn't be worried about like fake pleasantries. I mean, I guess I feel like you can't really please everyone. Some people expect that from you, some people don't necessarily. So I think just making sure you're honest is a good middle ground. If that makes any sense.
I think coming from the story earlier that because of the culture of being direct is the same thing as valuing their time. So if, let's say, if you can communicate yourself clearly, whether without the accent, and you resolve the issue in a very timely manner, like in 5 minutes, please no 10 minutes. So I think that's pretty much what they're looking for, I guess. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can be having all of the pleasantries and then you can't resolve anything. So we're just all wasting our time in here.
Agree, and then it's not a free phone call anyway. So being put on hold for like 10 minutes, mga kaBEEPs, 14 minutes. That's not good experience. It's not a free phone call for these guys. And even
Have
if
you
let's
had
say
those
you get
experiences?
Did you have a long
Like
hold?
being on hold for a long time, Sagan?
Yes, I have. With my bank in particular, yes. Yeah, actually, like this just happened a couple weeks ago. I bought something from the Philippines for my cousin, and the bank flagged that as like a red flag because like my card was being used like in a foreign country. And I went to the store. I couldn't use my card, so I had to call the bank. And I had to go through like 3 different people, all of which put me on hold for like 5 minutes before I got the solution resolved.
What?
Oh no!
I'm sorry, what?
Terrible.
Yeah, it was a little annoying, but
And is
I
this
like
someone
that-
from in the US or a BPO?
yeah, it was from someone in the it was all US based.
Oh my word.
Oh wow! Wow, that's interesting.
okay,
Yeah. Because we just know, BPO Nightlife is more of like us just showcasing the culture and stories, debunking misconceptions from here, right? Working here in the Philippines for BPO, and it's really interesting to know that happens over there. We call it the onshore because you guys are there, and we're the offshore. So yeah, that's quite interesting to know.
Yeah, it was like, hi, how are you? How was your day? what are you doing? I can't fix that solution for you. I'm gonna have to connect to this other person. Okay, and that went on, and eventually I got the right person that could fix the issue. Thank you for calling us. Thank you for using our services. Yada yada. Okay, bye bye. And then that was all over the course of like 15, 20-ish minutes.
Oh no.
That's not a free phone call. And by the way, Sagan, let's say the connection is lost and then someone calls you, that's not gonna be free as well, right? You also get charged when you get a phone call, right?
Right, yeah.
So for our kaBEEPs over there, I mean,
oh my god,
the new people in kaBEEPs, they don't know telcos, American telcos, because here in the Philippines, again, we don't get
charged.
Yeah, we don't get charged.
We don't have two-way trade here. It
calls.
doesn't apply here.
Yeah, so there in the US, you get or receive the calls, or you call, then you get charged either way. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
my god.
So kaBEEPs who are working with or for American accounts, please take note of that. So their time is very valuable.
That's why in some companies or in some accounts, they have what they call FCR, first call resolution, because you basically don't want your customers to keep on calling you. And that's why your AHT is super important. Your average handling time is super important. That's why you don't put your customers on hold for a long time, guys, because it adds up to their phone bill. And no one wants to have excess or overage charges in their phone bill, especially nowadays. You know, with the economy that we're stuck in because of Corona. So, yun lang. No, mga kaBEEPs, kunti kukutusan ko kayo. Dami ko kasi na-receive na ganyang incident report eh.
Ay naman, oo. With our centers, we always get complaints like that. But to be fair, with Philippine centers, or at least with our experiences, we don't get as many complaints like that, diba? But
yep.
Let's say with Sagan's experiences, I'm pretty sure you've also had Philippine reps over the phone, right?
I might have. I'm not entirely sure though.
Ooh.
Because sometimes you can't tell, because either their accent's been neutralized, or they're just really experienced or really conversational. I guess that's why Philippine centers have more voice processes than other countries, because we tend to
sound more neutral.
Have English as literally our second language.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's first now, especially with the younger generations.
Oh, yes, really? And they tend to sound like you're talking to an anime character. That's how they sound like. No, really, like I remember I spoke to my nephew a few weeks ago, and that's the way he sounds. He sounds like I'm talking to Paw Patrol or Naruto. That's the way he sounds like over the phone. Like, where did you get that accent from? That's the way Filipino kids.
Too? Has Sagan gotten those people too? Like people who sound like Naruto?
Sagan, you know what? In the next 10, 15 years, that's a kind of that's a voice quality of the people that will answer your phone call.
Yeah.
They will sound like you're talking to one Luffy, Naruto.
Are you ready for that?
Are you ready for that? Everyday anime.
And with the birth
I'm not sure
of
if that's a good or bad thing, to be honest.
They will sound super animated. Actually, that's the way they sound nowadays. That's the way they sound. I remember, so my friend, my classmate, has got a brother who graduated from LaSalle Canlubang. From LaSalle Canlubang. So I think he's like 20-ish. He's now based now this kid is now based in the US. And I heard him speak, and that's the way he sounds again. He sounds like, Gundam being dubbed in English. No. It like super animated. That's the way they sound like a cartoon character. That's the way he sounds. So see, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. If that's something that you're willing to, if you're willing to talk to someone who sounds that way over the phone, that might put you off.
And I think that's the importance of having ESL teachers. So it won't happen that way. sound like a dubbed character. You
Oh yeah.
sound like an actual person speaking English. That's the goal.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like very natural English at all.
in any form, like UK or US or anything.
No.
It's a character.
Yeah.
And back in 2018, when you came to the Philippines, I'm pretty sure you've had some experiences like that when speaking to the locals. Have you had sort of awkward conversation? I won't say awkward. Let's say interesting conversations that you've had with the locals when you were here back in 2018.
Not about like really the subject matter, but they did feel very animated, like you said. Now that you mention it, yeah. Just
okay.
Hi, how are you, sir?
So much energy. How are you, sir?
Hey!
So it's
Welcome to Joe.
Is that the way we sound? Is that the way we sound, Sagan? Is that the way we sound?
Generally, no. Generally, no. Just at like the stores and stuff, yes. But like, generally, no. Like talking to my cousins, they have fairly natural English or natural sounding English.
That's good.
Mhm.
Is that the way we sound? Do we sound okay to you?
Yeah. Like,
Now I'm
Hello,
bit
Sagan!
Hey, Sagan! How are you?
all right, bye guys.
And sometimes we can't help it. I mean, we see it in everyday like local culture. Like whenever you enter a fast food chain or anywhere someone opens the door for you, it's like, "Hi, ma'am, sir, welcome to this place."
Yeah.
We do that too. And
Yeah, over there too. I mean, I think in the more of the Midwest areas, not the city. I think the city they couldn't really care so much about you, but I think the Midwest areas, like the smaller towns, are quite welcoming and yeah, like everything okay here? Like, so much energy. Like yeah, everything's okay here. Do you like some
Hey
rice
yo!
tea? Yeah, I like some rice tea.
there's a coffee shop that's infamous for that here in my town, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I should go there.
Called Dutch Bros.
I've heard of that, Dutch Bros. I think I've seen it before. Really? So they sound like that?
Yeah, it's like they're just infamous throughout my friends group for just asking how your day is and just being very animated, and like they're clearly being told by someone to do that or else they get yelled at. I'm not sure.
Wow. I can't imagine it.
So as you can see, kaBEEPs, not only does it happen here, it happens to them as well back in the US. Amazing, no?
I guess
Kakatuwa.
it just really depends where you are. It's like a culture, I guess.
So if there are any kaBEEPs out there who's listening to this podcast, watching us on YouTube or Facebook, if there are anyone who falls under the category of being awkward towards talking to American people or foreigners in general, do you have any tips or things that you want them to know? Because coming from here where we don't really get that much interaction with foreigners, some of us may tend to be a little too scared or shy or too conscious about the way we present ourselves. Do you have any tips for them?
I guess be clear with like the question you're trying to ask. Like if you're asking for help or directions, I think just going straight to, "Hi, can you help me find this location I'm looking for?" Would help. Like don't try and like string them along or like be overly friendly, I guess. Just communicate with what you're trying to ask for and then go from there. Don't be too hung up on like trying to be too friendly or not. Or if you're
Or what about people who are quite conscious about the way they sound? Because not everyone in the country would have the ability to sound a certain way while speaking a second language. So what kind of advice would you give to them?
Well, I guess to be fairly blunt, yeah, some people, especially Americans, are going to be put off by like a strong accent, but also in reality, that's not really something you can fix very easily. So I guess just don't worry about it, and most people won't judge you for that. Just there's going to be like one or two jerks out there that do, but generally that's not an issue when talking to, or Americans won't judge you for that for the most part. Yeah, just don't worry about it.
Okay, so you heard that, mga kaBEEPs. Huwag masyadong don't
Don't be too trying hard.
Self-conscious.
Don't be too hung up on the accent, and sometimes grammar, right? Because it is known that sometimes Filipinos won't speak English in front of fellow Filipinos because they tend to be grammar Nazis.
Actually, that's true, and because of that, and that's why there are some Filipinos. They tend to shy away from interacting with their colleagues because they get so hung up when it comes to the way they present themselves. Mga kaBEEPs, you heard that straight from Sagan, that Americans are not very particular with the way you sound or with your grammar because they understand, but not most of them would, I think, or even let's say other nationalities would be very critical with the way we sound or with the way we compose our sentences together. So every time you're in training, my suggestion is really, guys, you have to make sure that at least neutralize your accent still. And then for the most part, I have heard a lot of calls wherein grammar is okay, but then again, they're not able to really have that that meaningful dialogue or conversation with their customer and all. So you still have to really put an effort in making sure that you get that connection across. And for that to happen, at least you should have very minimal errors when it comes to grammar. What we hate, no, Francis and Apple, is yung subject verb agreement, no?
Oh no.
that happens most of the time. That happens majority of the time. And as much as possible, mga kaBEEPs, please try again, neutralize your accent, and then just make sure that you minimize those glaringly obvious grammatical errors. But then at the same time, mga kaBEEPs, let's not be grammar Nazis. Diba? Here in the Philippines kasi, what happens is that it becomes a basis of your intelligence, which is not really the case. Diba? It's not always the case. Ako in particular, I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I think I can just talk to someone. I think I'm just really confident speaking to someone in English. End of story. That's all. I can fake it till I make it. But let us not be too critical. I mean, lahat tayo comms coach, ganon. Diba? So
lahat tayo technical writer.
Exactly. Ako, I like what Sagan said about just being direct. I like being direct. Let us not sound like we come up from the pages of a manga magazine. Let us not. Can you imagine phoning someone? No, I need to check my balance in my debit card if it's still $3,000, and then sounds off parang si Lupin the Third or Sailor Moon. Oh my God. No. So we don't want that. So I think, second, by the way, for ESL, do you also, so most likely part of what you teach will be grammar will be there, and neutralizing accents, right?
Let's see. I guess neutralizing the accent does come with like learning proper pronunciation and stuff. But English is such a weird language. Like vowels change their sound of like every other word, so it's like that's really hard to do with English. So I understand that, and I guess by that token, I won't be that worried about neutralizing the accent.
Okay, so what are the commonly mispronounced words that we tend to always do here in the Philippines? Based on, let's say, like your conversations with me when we were in Japan, or let's say when
you really want to go there?
I'm putting myself in the spotlight. I don't mind. I like getting feedback, diba? Or let's say, for example,
that's good.
Like, kaBEEPs, you have to be receptive to feedback.
Yep.
Diba?
Yes.
It's the only way that you will grow. Just
And
be receptive to
learn.
feedback and learn. Or take, for example, your daily interaction with, I don't know, your cousins, or let's say your friends, because I know that you've got other, let's say for Japanese people, what is it that you find interesting with the way they pronounce things, and how should they pronounce, or how should we pronounce it? And any kind of, suggestions on how we can
Improve.
exercise our muscles or our tongues, perhaps, just so that we'll be more neutral with the way we pronounce things.
Oh boy. So words that a lot of foreigners struggle with are like words that have accents or they have the same vowel in them, but it's pronounced like two different ways. Like galaxy, which has two A's in it, but galaxy. The A or the vowel changes its pronunciation and like twice in that one word. And really the only way that that how to pronounce it correctly is just by hearing it and learning it. Like you just have to know these things. And I don't know, just like English is just such a case-by-case language that there's no real consistency and stuff like that that you just really have to learn about them and ask questions. Like when teaching English, I guess I'll be very adamant in saying don't be afraid to ask questions. Like English is a very confusing language. If you don't know how to pronounce this word, please ask me, because there's no rule really that states how you're expected to pronounce it.
Or there are so many rules. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There are too many to memorize or to learn. It's just more of really just using the language all the time, like really practicing all the time, and the willingness to work on them, and just don't be afraid to ask, because some people are just
exactly.
like, afraid to ask, like, oh, you know what, oh, I'm gonna say it this way, and then oh, I feel like I sound so smart, but it's wrong. Oh, I English myself, I sound so good, I'm not, because you fail to kind of listen to yourself or ask for help, ask for tips how to be better.
Yeah, I guess that's part of why I don't like criticizing accents. It's because accents come from just how they learn to pronounce the words in their own language. So it's just like when they're learning something like English, which has many different ways to pronounce this one letter, it's just I get it that they're just not used to that.
I remember back in the UK, they say billing address, like address. So the accent, so the way you pronounce this is different, because in America, I think in America you'd say address.
Address. Yeah.
Address. And then Brits would say address.
Yep.
Like address something in public or someone in public thing. That's the way they would pronounce billing address. So it's different per culture. Like water is. I don't have a British accent. Water.
It's even different in the same culture. Like I know that even like in America we say adults, like
or
adults or adults. Yeah.
That's true.
And then mountain. Some would say mountain, and then some would say mountain.
Yep.
Mountain.
So I don't.
So how do you guys say it there in the West Coast?
Mountain.
Oh, mountain. So there's a popped NT.
Mountain.
How about this? Is it really call center? Because it was
call
a call center or call center. But I think it's accepted both anyway.
Center.
Yeah.
We got him
and
thinking.
the point about accents is made.
That's right. So
or internet.
Like
some
internet. What T? Not internet.
Because some customers would say, I've got problems with my internet, and then some would say internet.
Yeah,
and then I don't know. So for me, that's what I find confusing. Like, which is which, and then you get corrected. Blah 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 blah. Like, so for me, that gets so confusing. So maybe that's why I gave up taking calls. So that's why I decided to just be in human resources. So I don't have to I don't have to deal with that anymore. With the pressure of being understood by my customer. Shut up.
I think the key thing here I find most interesting is, you can have the accent as long as you can deliver the message. It's content. Mm-hmm. Content is key.
Yeah.
It can be distracting that you have this really thick accent or heavy accent, but I think if you convey the message really, clearly, then I think
yes.
if you're sensible, right? If you have some logic or common sense to speak to like an actual person, then I think that's what's most important.
For sure, yeah.
Mga kaBEEPs, please make sure you take note
notes.
of that. It's okay to be conversational. It's important for you to really have that connection with your consumer. But at the end of the day, you just have to delete unnecessary talk because number one, it's adding up to the phone bill of your consumer. See, I got that mixed up. Consumer and customer. So make sure that you have to be direct to the point. Just be direct to the point, right, Sagan? Be direct.
Yeah.
Don't give your consumers, don't beat around the bush. Please make sure that accent is okay, grammar
But
should
sound
be okay.
nice and helpful.
Yes,
Yeah.
sound nice.
Sound is better. You can be you have the best accent, but if you're snooty and unhelpful and bitchy, then it's not. Sorry, but I have to say it. Yeah, like if you don't care, or you don't care like you're helping at all, you sound like you're not helpful at all, then it doesn't help if you have a very good, clear accent, but you have to sound it too. Like you have to sound,
and you have to be very careful with the way you construct your sentences. You have to be careful, because remember, the way the intention might be there to really help the customer, but if you are not able to, if it doesn't translate to the way that you're saying it, it doesn't help at all, diba? So ano ba? I have this incident report, and this is what our representative said. Didn't it come with a manual? Didn't it come with a manual? So it sounded very rude.
I mean, for you, Sagan, do you think that come off as rude?
I guess that does kind of like a very didn't you know this kind of tone to it?
Yes, exactly. So that's the kind of tone that person was giving to the consumer, and the consumer did not appreciate that. So in that, so I think it could have been positioned better. I think instead of saying that, you could have, Apple, you have to help us with that. So how would you how are we going to a different tone, different approach of saying? Basically, the rep was asking whether you have received the manual or not. But the way he said that, didn't it come with a manual? And with that tone, so that's the way it sounded. So it was a red flag for the client.
Maybe I
So
guess
Apple,
like a transition,
Francis.
like when you receive the product. When you receive the product, did it come with? I don't want to say did it come with. So do you have? Did you have? Yeah, you are going to say did it come with the manual? I guess you can say that in a way, but it should be like with a transition when you received it. It should come with the following items. So, did you get to see the manual with it? Something like that. So more of
I guess like, so didn't it come with a manual implies that, well, it did come with a manual, you just missed it, is kind of
like duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's very tricky, no? So mga kaBEEPs, be very careful in how you say things. It's either a make or a break. It could either break the entire call, the entire transaction, or it could really be an opportunity for you to be commended for a job well done. No?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, where's Mother Francis, by the way?
There are dogs barking in the background with relatives screaming because it is Mother's Day lunch.
Could you hear my dog?
People are starting to
Oh, you have dogs?
Oh yeah, I have one dog.
Okay.
What's the name of your dog again?
Rico.
Rico.
Oh.
A German Shepherd.
Yes.
Oh, I remember. So, Sagan and I went to University of Tokyo, where they have that bronze statue of Professor Ueno and Hachiko.
Oh.
And it's like it's a better version of Hachiko compared to the one that they have in Shibuya.
Remember the stickers?
Ah, kawaii!
It was given to us by Uncle Officer.
Yeah, that really nice officer.
Yes, the security officer. And the funny thing is that the moment you walk into the University of Tokyo, so by the moment they walk by the gate, you will see on the left-hand side, you will see there the statue already. And you know what? The first, and this is so funny, and Sagan can attest to this. I cried because I remember I love dogs. I love dogs, and then I remember that's the point wherein the security officer handed over those stickers to us.
Just to make you feel better?
Just to make me feel better, I guess.
Make you feel worse.
Make me feel worse because I missed a dog. Francis, I'll give you a picture of that and then just post it somewhere here.
Yes, I'll put it as an insert somewhere.
An insert somewhere, yes. So, I miss Hachi. I miss Hachiko! Aso ko. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I miss Japan. I wish this pandemic is over.
Same here.
Yeah.
What have you been doing there, by the way, since there's a pandemic?
The last year I was just basically inside. Like I wasn't working. I was just taking all my classes online through remote lectures and stuff, like just through Zoom. I don't really remember much in the last year because I was just sitting around the entire time.
Oh no. Well, same here. Well, actually last year. Oh, and I think you saw my Instagram. Remember mga kaBEEPs, I was in Tabuelan last year. I was in Bantayan. It's like there's no
We even
pandemic
had an
in
episode.
Cebu City.
Yeah, we have an episode.
True.
Ryan.
You're at the
Yes.
literally. At
I was in the
at
beach.
night.
Yes.
Recording a
Drinking.
podcast. Yeah.
You can edit this out. Drink. Oh, that's too bad, Sagan. Well, at least last year, I remember when I was in Cebu, the beach. Either I'm in the beach or I'm up in Busay in the mountains, or I'm the city. Oh my God! So we had it better here then. Well, at least in Cebu. In the metro, it's different. I
Yeah.
think you might have heard the struggles of your cousins. Are your cousins
Yeah.
working now?
I think my cousin just finished university. I'm not sure what he's doing now. I haven't talked to him about a week. I should check in with him.
Oh, shout out to the
See.
cousin. Hi.
Yeah, you may want to say hi to your cousins.
Oh, yeah. I will for sure.
You can say you can greet them now.
Yeah,
A
I
shout
can do
out.
that.
Shout out to my cousin
Shout out-
in.
Shout out to my cousin Justin if you're listening. I'll talk to you soon.
Oh no! You know what? Hopefully next year will be better, so we can all travel, and then and then I think next year, Sagan, since this year you'll be finishing uni, so next year you'll be in Japan. I think that's his plan. So you can drop
Ooh.
by. Drop by talaga. Parang divisoria lang.
I was supposed to go back to the Philippines last year, but then that's when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate.
So I think next year we can plan things out. We can plan life again beginning next year because we've
Yeah, for
started
sure.
rolling out vaccines. So towards the end of the year, I see something much brighter. We're 5 months into the year, so we've got 7 months left. A lot of things will happen, mga kaBEEP. So, kapit sa makapit.
Hold
Okay.
on. Just keep on
Hold
holding on. It may not be for long. Just keep on holding on.
Just hold for one more day. Mm-mm. Parang ibang ano.
If I get demonetized.
Okay, so I think that wraps up our session for tonight. Today depends on what time you listen to this podcast. But Sagan, thank you so much for your time. Did you
so
enjoy?
much.
Yeah,
Are you
thanks for
willing to
having me
have
again.
another? Oh, you're welcome. And of course, thank you again. And hopefully we can, have you back as a a guest again.
I had some more stuff on my mind that I was willing to put out, but yeah, we can do that next time.
Thank you so much. So mga kaBEEPs, thank you, and welcome again to season 2 of BPO Night Live. So I am once again Gary, your kaBEEPs Gary.
I'm
kaBEEPs
Owl.
Francis. Thanks. It always happens.
Okay, so Francis, sino na yung first? Francis and then Apple.
Okay, I'll be last.
Okay.
Again.
I'm your kaBEEPs Francis. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm kaBEEP's Apple. Thank you very much for watching. No, we're asking again. Hi, this is kaBEEP's Apple. Thanks.
And I'm kaBEEP Sagan. Thanks for having me.
Yay!
Okay.
Follow us for more BPO talks and tips on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BPO Night Live. You can watch us on our official Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. BPO Night Live is also heard as a podcast on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast listening apps.